Let's move on now to talk to Mike Jones from Migration Watch UK. Mike, another big problem this, and I know this is not initially why we're going to be talking to you, but, you know, we've got all these foreign criminals in this country, 17,500 of them we've discovered, who have done time in prison in this country, should be deported, but they're not being deported.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, mass immigration poses a security threat to the United Kingdom.
Yeah.
You know, if you've got elite levels of migration, chosen for their high human capital, that's great. It's great for the economy. It's good for integration and social cohesion. But if you've got the free-for-all that we have at the moment, then obviously some of these people are going to be committing crimes. They're going to ruin people's lives. And yeah, absolutely, they should be deported from the UK.
Yes, exactly right. And we saw once again the news yesterday that the figures that have come in, the new figures to June of 2024, show that, you know, there's no chink of light, if you like, at the end of the tunnel. 25,300 boat migrants given asylum, only 3% of migrants coming here on small boats deported, and also a record number of asylum claims, and a record number of people coming over to study as well, even though some of the numbers have gone down a little bit because of the fact that they haven't brought members of their family with them, but still an awful lot of people coming into the country, over 1 million, to study and to work.
Yeah, I mean, the number of people granted asylum has actually trebled on the previous year.
Yeah.
I think it's around, 68,000. And yeah, there have been reductions to legal migration because of, James Cleverly's ban on certain groups of dependents, higher salary thresholds, and so on. But, it's kind of a drop in the ocean. It's like if your football team lost 2 weeks ago, 5-0 to the opposition, but they've lost 3-0 the following week. I mean, that's progress of some sort, but, ultimately your side is still losing.
Yeah.
The numbers will come down somewhat, but they're still exceptionally high. I think the numbers will be anywhere between, or net migration will be anywhere between, 400 to 500,000.
Yes, I think there's no question. But it's not so much the net migration figure that bothers a lot of people, it's the actual gross migration figure of 1.16 million. Because, again, what we know about people that come here to study is that many of them don't ever go back home. They stay here, and even if they are given leave to remain for a couple of years, they can stay even longer than that. And the same goes for the people who are coming in on work visas. Their work visa might run out, but they'll continue to remain here. People just don't seem to leave this country once they get here.
For sure, with higher education, you obviously have the graduate visa routes, and a lot of those people who work in the UK during that time, and there are no strings attached to this visa, right. They're working in extremely low-paid, low-skilled jobs. My guess is a lot of them are working in the gig economy.
Yeah.
Many of these sort of international students actually go on to work in social care, which is a low-skilled job. So there's this myth that's been built up that we're recruiting the best and the brightest, but that's actually completely false, right. Because we're using immigration as a sticking plaster for structural issues within our own economy, right. Where you need better wages, better paying conditions.
Yeah, exactly. Because, I mean, while we talk about bringing people in to do jobs that British people won't do, there's 9.4 million people in this country currently who are economically inactive. In the words of the Home Office, in the words of the Department of Work and Pensions, many of them say that just even half of them did jobs that they should be doing. We wouldn't need as much immigration as we have. And also, I don't think a lot of the, as you say, a lot of the immigration is not fulfilling those jobs anyway.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, how labour markets work is you have a market clearing wage, so wages rise automatically to attract domestic workers to do difficult, unpleasant or dangerous jobs. That's how the economy should work. But obviously, if you're recruiting overseas, people are prepared to work for much lower wages because their point of comparison is different. They're not comparing themselves to, Mr. and Mrs. Joe Bloggs from Tunbridge Wells, no. Living semi-detached. They're comparing their own position to people from back in their country of origin. And, obviously they're prepared to accept much lower wages, much poorer working conditions. And, it distorts the labour market, and we can't have that.
No, exactly right. Mike, good to talk to you. Thanks very much indeed. Mike Jones from Migration Watch UK there.